We're going to start today with the first video on the exterior of your home. Obviously, this is one of the most important parts of any viewing when it comes to showing your home. My clients pull up out front and it's either, oh, they love it or they hate it. A lot of clutter in the yard, you can get rid of that. Then we start with the driveway. Maybe it's a paved driveway. Maybe it's got some little fine cracks in it. It's got some oil stains on it. Nothing a coat of sealer, roll a coat of sealer on it, clean it all up. Just makes it look nice and clean looking, like you care. That's a big thing. The outside looking like you care. It obviously invites the people to come in. Then we get into the grass, nicely fresh cut grass, all weed eated. So many times we see homes where they've quickly cut the grass, but the weeds are growing around the flower beds, or growing around the trees and so on. Clean that all up. Then we get into the flower beds. Weed them, get them all mulched. Just give them that fresh look. It always helps. Of course, then we get the home inspector involved if they get into maybe a conditional offer, conditional on the home inspection. Any cracks on the outside. If you get into any major cracks in the foundation, these are things that the home inspectors look for. So it's a good idea to try and look after anything that's looking major before you even get to that point. Also, the grade level around the outside of the house. Over the years, you're going to get some settling. Good idea to bring in some extra soil, bring the ground back up to grade, get the water running away from the house. This becomes an issue when the home inspector starts to go over the outside of the house. They're looking for spots where the water is going to lay against the foundation wall, chances of water getting into the home. Also your downspouts, making sure all the downspouts are projecting away from the house. So many times we see it where they come down the wall and they're just cut off right there, and that's the end of it. The water rains hard, it comes down the downspouts, around the foundation wall, down into the weeping tile, and into the sump hole. And then it just repeats that. So that's one thing big, to get rid of that water. Make sure it's getting away from the home. And that just about covers the exterior. You can get into the painting if you've got any trim. Wood trim, touch it up. Maybe cover it some with vinyl capping if it maybe need be. Garage door frame, make sure everything's looking good around the garage. And that should cover it as far as the exterior. Your next video will come in 2 days' time, and it's going to be on the shingles on your home. First off, if they're getting old and ratty looking, obviously they need replaced. If you replace them ahead of time, now when there's showings, hey, the home from the outside looks fantastic. If you get down to a conditional offer on, say, a home inspection, and the home inspector comes in and he says, hey, the shingles are brand new. These are perfect. You've got a good 25, maybe 30 years out of the shingles. That's great. When a potential buyer pulls up, and right off the bat they happen to notice the shingles are looking kind of curled up and ratty looking, the first thing they think is, what else is bad? What else needs replaced? They're looking at a price, say $429.9. Now all of a sudden it needs new shingles. So now you're gonna add 10 grand onto it. So if these things are done ahead of time, it just gives that buyer that sense of, hey, you know what, this house is nice. It's in good shape. That's the name of the game. Get that house in pristine shape. Just adds to that exterior, such as the other stuff I talked about in the first video on the exterior. Hey, the shingles are just as important, more important than the outside of some of the other things. But it all just makes the outside of the house inviting. Talk about the windows and doors. So many times you go to show homes and maybe they're crank-out casement windows. Maybe a couple of them have got moisture leak in them. So inside the glass between the two panes, all of a sudden there's moisture. It's kind of foggy looking. These things can be easily fixed by contacting a local window company. I have a lot of different contacts being in the building business for over 20 years to get these things fixed. Um, Very important. You know, you get people, the exterior looks great, they don't really notice the windows from the outside. Now they get in the home, they start walking around, and you're standing in a bedroom trying to look out, and of course it's all foggy. You know, it's got stains on it and so on. Could have easily been replaced. These are things that, you know, people see them and they think, well, they don't really care. You know, what else don't they care about? These are just things that can be done so easy, just to clean it up, make it look nice, and look like the homeowners care. Then you get into doors. Maybe the door's sticking. You can get in a guy to reshim the door and get it so it's opening properly. Another big thing is locks, deadbolts. You know, the agent comes with a buyer to show the home, and they get the open the lockbox, they get the key out, they put it in the deadbolt, and all of a sudden they have trouble turning it. I've been to so many homes where you can't get it unlocked. You have to jiggle the key. You know, you phone the agent and they say, oh, well, jiggle the key, it'll go in. And of course, finally you get it open. Well, what's the homeowner or the buyer's thinking right off the bat? They're thinking like, holy man, like I can't even get in the home. And then all of a sudden you go to lock it and you can't get the key out of the deadbolt. You know, you're pulling and jiggling and yanking on until finally you get the key out. The chance of those buyers coming back, all of a sudden, you know, they're thinking, yeah, this house isn't for me. So windows, you know, if you've got any leaks in the seal, so there's moisture inside them. Deadbolts, make sure they're all oiled up and working properly. Keys fit, not going to get stuck, and that helps out the windows and doors. Today we're going to talk about flooring. First off, agent shows up at the front door with his clients. They walk in, and you've got old vinyl. Say the home's, you know, built in the late 60s, early 70s. Vinyl was the thing. Not many people had ceramics. And if they did, the ceramics are pretty ugly looking probably. But, you know, most entrances are around 40 square feet. Doesn't take a whole lot to buy some tile. You know, you're looking at $2-3 a square foot for, you know, just an average tile. Couple $100, maybe $300 to lay it. You've got maybe $500 in the whole front entrance. But now it's cleaned up, looks new, and just invites those potential buyers in. Next, we get into carpet. You know, maybe you've got an old Berber carpet, it's got some stains on it, it's got some runs in it. Maybe it's an old shag style carpet. Maybe a weird color like a dark blue or something. You know, these are things that potential buyers see right off the bat. That's those cosmetic ideas inside. You know, any of the different floorings. Maybe you've got some hardwood button up against some newer hardwood. You know, we see that a lot where, you know, maybe the living room has a new hardwood in it, and the bedrooms have been done later with something that doesn't even match. You know, the buyers looking at it see that, hey, we need to redo the flooring, the front entrance needs to be redone, and all of a sudden, you know, they're thinking, yeah, you know what, maybe we better look at the next home and see what it looks like inside. These easy fix cosmetic items make a big difference when showing your home. You know, I've got lots of contacts that I can help you out with when it comes to looking for all these different items and getting a good deal on them. So think about all that flooring. We're going to talk about painting. First off, you know, some of these homes you go into and they've got some dark walls, some dark flooring, and the home just looks dark. You know, potential buyers are in there and they're saying, you know what, like, I mean, this home's dark, you know, it needs paint. You know, all of a sudden they start decreasing the value of the home when you could have done this ahead of time and increased the value of the home. You know, maybe just an off-white throughout the home. You know, get rid of the wacky colors in some of the kids' bedrooms. I've seen some lime greens, bright purples. You know, right off the bat, the buyers know they're going to have to paint those rooms before they move the kids' bedrooms and dressers and everything in. But the thing is most people are moving in the same day as the other people are moving out. So now it becomes an issue of, when are we going to get the kids' bedrooms painted? All of a sudden the furniture's all in there, the beds are all put together, and there's just now it becomes a real hassle to get them painted. So if you have them done ahead of time, and the people walk in and say, hey, this is nice, like it's nice and clean, the bedrooms are all painted, they might think about redoing them a different color down the road, but I mean, everything works for what they need now. So let's think about paint. Not a whole lot of expense involved in it. You pick up a gallon of paint for 40 or 50 bucks, paint a room. Hey, you've got, 50, 60 bucks if you want to do it yourself, or you hire it done. But it just makes that showing so much nicer. We're going to talk about trim and doors. This is a good one. I've been in a lot of homes, and you walk in and say it's a home built in the 60s, and it's originally had mahogany trim, mahogany panel doors, and they've painted some of them, tried to brighten them up, but then there's other ones they haven't painted. So all of a sudden, it's totally out of sync. All of a sudden potential buyers walk in and they see these the old slab mahogany doors. You can pick up new doors for 50, 60 bucks a piece. Put some new 800 series doors on, nice bright white. Maybe you can paint all the trim the same color. Maybe some of it needs replaced. But one of the big items, trim and doors. When they're all over the place as far as colors go, and they've stained some and they've painted some, make it all the same throughout. You walk into a new home that's just freshly built. I mean, all the trim's the same, all the doors are the same. It doesn't take a whole lot to make all the trim and doors the same in your older home. But this increases the value a lot. So think about the doors and trim. A kitchen. Now, obviously, a whole new kitchen, they can run you 15, 18,000. You want to put granite in with it, you could be into, like 25, 30,000. That becomes very tough to get back out of the house. You're not really, you are increasing the value, but whether you can get all that money back out of it is pretty tough. A lot of times, you put in a new countertop. You spend $2,000, $3,000 on countertops, and it just freshens up the whole kitchen. Maybe you can paint the cabinets if they're an older style cabinet. Maybe they've been painted a couple times. Take the doors and drawers off, sand them all down, give them a coat of nice melamine paint, something brighter. It'll just clean it up and make it look good. Before you get into doing any kind of major overhaul in the kitchen, that's something I always like to talk to my clients about ahead of time. They may be thinking of listing the house a couple months down the road, and they're thinking of what they can do to increase the value. I always like to talk to them ahead of time about the kitchen, because you can get into some major money and never get it back out. So think about it. Call me if you want to talk about kitchens, about the bathrooms. If it's only maybe a home that's a few years old, the bathroom might be just fine the way it is. Maybe it needs a new vanity. You get into an older house, all of a sudden now you might have off-colored toilets and sinks. Almond used to be a big color. Now everything is white. These are things that can be changed. Bathroom cleaned up. That's just something, when somebody moves in, that's tough to replace at the time when somebody's moving in. It's like the painting. It's something that, it needs to be done, and you can't do it after you've moved in. It makes it tough. So it's nice if, when you put it up for sale, clients come in and they see the clean looking bathrooms with maybe new vanities, maybe a new countertop, some nice mirrors, nice lighting. This all helps with the increasing the value of your home. Get into some of the mechanical part of the home. We're going to talk about the furnace. Now, if the home's 10 years and newer, it's probably energy efficient, works well. When it comes to home inspections, make sure that you've got the filter replaced with a new filter. it's usually a good idea to maybe hire an HVAC guy to come in, look it over, you know, give it any kind of cleanup, any adjustments that need done. This all helps with the home inspection on selling the home, and it also helps with the energy factor. You know, you get into a house that's maybe 20, 30 years old, still got the original furnace. You know, the potential buyers walk in, they see this furnace. Again, it's kind of like the flooring. You know, they know it needs replaced. It's only a matter of time. So, you know, this increases the value without spending a lot of money. You know, you walk in and you know, you see the home, and it's again maybe listed for $429.9. It's got a brand new furnace. Hey, now you've got potential buyers that are willing to pay for what you've done. All of a sudden, you look at it as $429.9, needs a new furnace. Now, you know, the potential homeowner's got to buy, you know, spend $3,500. This added with a few other things that haven't been done, and they're off to see the next home. So think about doing that furnace if it needs done. I've got lots of contacts with mechanical guys that can do the furnace and do it at a reasonable price. Some people will get into you know, hooking up for a lease-to-own or a rental agreement. You don't want to get involved with that, because what happens when the potential buyers get ready to buy it, they don't want those rentals. So now you've got to get rid of the rentals. So you might as well pay for them up front, because it's a lot cheaper paying for them up front than buying them through you know, one of the companies where they rent them to you on a rent-to-own basis. Oh yeah, sure, they've got a yearly valuation of the furnace, make sure everything's working right, and that's all paid for. But meanwhile, you're you know, all of a sudden you owe like 12 grand for the furnace when you go to sell it, because the buyers don't want to take on the rental of it. So look at that furnace and you know, see if it's really worth replacing. You know, maybe get a mechanical guy in to look at it ahead of time. AC day. We're going to talk about the central air. So many homes I go into, the AC has been undersized. It's not doing the job. The AC is running full out all the time. You know, the homeowners notice this. You get outside and it's running nonstop. That's just killing the hydro. You want to look at the idea of energy efficient. You know, if it's, you know, 10, 15 years old, there's no energy factor to it at all. And ACs are not a big item to replace, but getting ones that obviously fit the house is another big item. And just something that should be done. Usually people will do that furnace and AC at the same time. Now, again, we don't want to get into these rental agreements, because you know that when it's time to sell it, the potential buyers want no part of the AC rental and furnace rental. Now, obviously, a lot of people have hot water heaters that are on rentals. That's a little bit different. They're, you know, normally around the $40 mark a month, and that's not bad. But they're not going to take on rentals for all the mechanics in your house. You're going to have to pay for them. So it's a lot cheaper to pay for them up front than to hire one of these big companies to come in, put them in, and set up a big rental program. And that's it for the videos. I hope you've enjoyed all these videos, and please feel free to contact me through email, call me, text me if you've got any questions, if you'd like me to come and have a look at your home, decide maybe what needs to be done, what doesn't, what kind of money you want to spend on it. We can figure out the value of your home and what we could list it for, and then figure out what you want to spend to make it better. Increase that value. That's what it's all about, is increasing the value of your home without spending major money. Thanks, and this has been fun.